Tonight on Joy News Prime, President Akufo-Addo, his vice and hordes of ministers and public officials thronged the Independence Square for commissioning of 307 ambulances, government says, will form the core of a comprehensive national emergency system.
Government will ensure that the needed infrastructure is provided to the paramedic and emergency care training school at the Council to help ensure that it serves its purpose of training paramedics in the country and West Africa. Additionally, 145 new ambulance stations will be created.
We hear from the National Ambulance Director how the system will work. Opposition NDC points to what they describes as a grand scheme of intimidation and harassment to silence the party ahead of the 2020 elections.
We shall not tire, we shall not rest, we shall not falter, and we shall not relent. We are unwilling to surrender our rights to a democratically elected leader who is carrying himself as a despot.
Clean Ghana Campaign Task Force nabs its first set of culprits on its return after the Christmas break. One of them, a young man who refused to allow the presence of the task force to disrupt his nature's call.
Yeah.
I'm just squatting small.
Huh?
I'm just squatting small.
Squatting small. What is squatting small? Are you defecating?
You say?
Are you defecating? Are you shitting?
No, yes, I'm shitting small.
You are shitting.
Are you aware that it's not allowed to shit here?
Yeah, it's squatting small.
In business.
Coming up in business, the majority shareholder of Neoplan Ghana Limited to go ahead with a pull-out plan by January 31, despite assurances by government to address their grievances.
They buy the Chinese buses into the system. It doesn't last. So we are pleading to the government to give us the chassis, even if it is on loan to the company to work on it and sell and pay the loans. It will help us.
Motorists advised to approach Air Force Base Bend on Dual Carriage Road linking Spintex to Burma Camp with caution as the section becomes notorious for accidents.
There have been a lot of accidents there because people speed in the mornings, in the evenings on this road, and it is difficult for you to meander in this bend.
Okay.
So they lose control. Precisely. Now look on the walls. It's almost like every week. Look at it, very sad, and people have died.
I'm Israel and Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio at Kokomlimli here in Accra with digital address GA0992539. Stay tuned in. The Joy Clean Ghana campaign got back onto the trail this week after a long break, with their first culprit being a man found attending to nature's call at the Jamestown beach. Not even the presence of the AMA officials and Joy News cameras would have him terminate his session. He was subsequently arrested. Nancy Mefajradozi, who went along with the task force, reports that Salenko Beach Resort and public toilets in the community were also found to be discharging their effluents directly into the sea. Viewers are warned some of the images could be disturbing.
When you see right here on my left, those materials there are anal cleansing materials. There's a public toilet just up there. And when the people visit the loo and then they clean their anal, instead of them having an area to burn it or to make good, to dispose of it sanitarily, they just pour it here.
Immediately after the Director of Public Health at the AMA, Florence Kuchi, told the team what the agenda was for the day, this man in his mid-20s was spotted squatting by the beach, busily defecating.
The person is practicing open defecation just by the sea. Meanwhile, recently, the Minister for Zongo Development was here to commission about 150 toilet facilities that have been done for the public, for them free of charge. They have all these facilities within them, and they are still practicing open defecation. You can just imagine, even we are coming, but this guy did not even feel shy. He was still sitting there doing his own thing.
He refused to own up when he was questioned initially.
I'm just squatting small.
Huh?
I'm just squatting small.
Squatting small. What is squatting small? Are you defecating?
You say?
Are you defecating? Are you shitting?
No, yes, I'm shitting small.
You are shitting.
Are you aware that it's not allowed to shit here?
Yeah, it's quite small.
It's quite small. Okay, so you are under arrest.
Okay.
Shortly after, the team spotted some discharge from a drain connected to a public toilet being channeled into the sea. At the public toilet, the manager of the facility, Madam Sophia, happily conducted the team around until she was asked about the discharge.
Madam, my septic tank was here. If I am toilet, no. Septic tank, no. This is where, you are telling me this is where the sack, this is the septic tank that the septic, and when they come, they draw from.
She pleaded to call her son when Madam Kuchi ordered the place to be shut down.
My toilet, no. My connecting my toilet no, straight into the sea, no. Inti ubeti mi ama yanko from na menko chira. Inti yanko.
Ni wona akasi pipe.
Madam, yanko.
Ni
Even on the
water. How am I
Everybody
in the toilet should come out.
We know we are.
No, she's aware. She's telling her the raw excreta is not going, but it is the water from the toilet that is going, which is the effluent. And that is why we are telling her the effluent is the toilet. So since she's aware, we are closing down the toilet for them to do the right thing. They did it intentionally.
Madam Sophia's son later arrived to explain the source of the discharge.
I'll say it here before you go.
No, when we are,
No. Let me explain everything to you. I say we have 3 chambers.
Yes, I understand.
One is here, one is at the other side.
Yes.
This is the main chamber.
Yes.
That's right.
And this place, when the influence have to be empty, this is where we do it.
Okay.
So let me give you pictures of evidence.
I'm not
But the explanations were found to be unconvincing.
over there, and the water that is dripping down is from the bathroom. But I am telling him that it is not from the bathroom. You can see the color of the water dripping down. As we are standing here, nobody is in the bathroom bathing. But the water is dripping. It is coming straight from their septic tank. And when you watch here, you can see the raw excreta. This is raw feces flowing down through into the sea.
Not too far from the public toilet was the Salinko Beach Resort, which appeared quite presentable until the task force was introduced to the septic tank.
So when the flash, where does it start?
This is the pipe.
Hotel, when they flash, it goes straight into the. Which one is they have pipe using? So when somebody sleeps here, why would the person go to toilet? But there is a white man sitting there. Is he not a visitor? Yes. So per the warrant given to us, Daddy, we are using this warrant to arrest you yourself to appear in court to explain why you are operating a hospitality industry by the beach. This is a storage center without a septic tank.
It turned out this particular facility had been cautioned several times.
Per the warrant given to us, Daddy, we are using this warrant to arrest you yourself to appear in court to explain why you are operating a hospitality industry by the beach. This is a storage center without a septic tank. And then you boldly said, "Car flash here, and show me." So please, please arrest him. So we will take him. So yes, so please, we are arresting you. So this is the bench warrant that has given us the opportunity. No, this is a warrant. So we are taking you. So we are taking you. You are listen. It's two, the manager and then the owner. So your name is there, please. So let's go. This one is not for you. We are not giving this one to you. We are taking you to court with this. So we are taking the court. Yes, we came here earlier. We gave them summons to go to court. They didn't go. A bench warrant was issued. We came and they ran away.
The manager and the owner were cuffed and taken to the police station.
So we are going with him and him to court right away. So we are going to body court.
In all, 3 arrests were effected, with Madam Kuchi warning this year is going to be action-packed.
Next week, we are continuing until we get to where we want to get to. And this year is an action year, and we are really going to work and work well.
Right, so now you know the Joy Clean Ghana campaign is back. Now, any opportunity before Friday to produce up to 100 buses a year will halt a planned shutdown and guarantee viability of Neoplan Ghana. That is the hope of staff and management of the auto assembly plant in Kumasi, which has been almost ground to a halt, for lack of activity. Workers blame the impending closure on the failure of government, which holds a majority stake since 2002, to engage the company to build buses for public institutions. They also accuse government of refusing to shed off a 20% of its 55% stake in the company to a minority owner who is prepared to invest to revive the company. The deal, which involves about $170,000, was stopped by the present government after court action and has since refused to give back money involved. Ahead of Friday's planned shutdown, Lover Firm's Nane Aljima took a trip to the assembly plant and filed this report.
Bus seats, vehicle-making equipment, grounded vehicles and skeleton buses gather dust in the assembly plant. Staff who should be busy at work gathers in groups discussing impending closure of the plant. Victoria Kunedu Yadom heads the electrical department, having worked here for about 25 years. Her past 7 years with the company haven't been memorable.
This company now is empty. We have nothing doing. When you come here, either you sleep, you take your phone to chat, or you converse. We have nothing doing.
Established in 1974, the company is the first bus assembly plant in West Africa. It has over the years built 4,000 buses for government and private entities in Ghana and other neighboring countries. Neoplan's biggest client, Government of Ghana, owns 55% shares in the company. Fadu Group owns the remaining 45%, originally held by Gottlob Awalter of Germany and later MAN AG. Production manager Fortius Kezoroglu compares buses built here to recent imports.
And I'm wondering, Ghana have a lot of money to spend to China or some other, or Tata. Tata buses have a life of 1 year and 2 months. Bush roads, these buses can never be long-lasting. A Neoplan bus have also the past show long-lasting, 14 years, 15, 16 years.
So here is the skeleton of a bus that's being built by Neoplan. This skeleton, built years back, is awaiting chassis, which is the base frame of the vehicle, and it includes the engine itself and the base frame. And today, work has stalled. It continues to gather dust because no one has shown interest in purchasing the bus. In 2002, Neoplan was contracted to build 450 DAF and VDL buses for the Metro Mass Transit Service at its inception. Since then, it has received no major contract and has survived on servicing of these buses and the ones imported by MMT and private individuals. MMT and other clients owe Neoplan huge sums of money in maintenance fees. Chief Accountant Samuel Egan explains how the company has struggled to stay afloat.
Net salary being paid to workers, PAYE, and other salary-related issues, it is around 124,000 per month. And the income we generate averagely is 60,000. So you can just know the difference. We owe GRA because of this situation in which we find ourselves. We owe SSNIT and others.
The Metro Mass Transit Service Yard in Kumasi shares a fence wall with Neoplan. Many of the buses have been grounded for various defects. Some, according to technical persons, are very minor. As the fleet sits dormant in the yard, hundreds of people queue up here awaiting arrival of the next bus to enable them begin their own journey. Beyond maintenance, more buses are needed by the state transporter to become vibrant and effective as it used to. Neoplan's administrator, Veronica Asante-Dako, believes another contract from the public transporter instead of foreign purchase will change the fortunes of the assembly plant.
Okay, if they can give us contracts, 50 buses a year or 100 buses in a year, that will be okay for us for now. We'll be able to pay our taxes, pay our workers, employ more workers. And also our equipments, some of them are old. So if he can also help us in that area.
Management of the company has proposed to be shelved under government's One District, One Factory. This is after government failed to release 20% of its stake to minority shareholder Fadul Group, which was prepared to invest more. Here is production manager explaining how the proposal failed to go through after initial payment to the previous government.
The old government have agreed, have everything signed, they have taken the money and everything. And after the new government is coming, say no, starting the court. How much courts? 10 courts. And after the court say no.
86 staff described as highly skilled who have been maintained in anticipation of improved fortunes have almost lost hope. Here is leader of Workers' Union, David Edua Samoa.
All we have to do is to move out. Now, we had several workers who have left the company because of these same problems. Now, some of them are dead, some of them are sick because of this problem.
This bus was started in 2017, and in 2019, a nursing training college showed interest in the bus and it was finished for them. Nice interior finishing, I should say, but if care is not taken, this could be the last bus to be built by Ghanaian-owned Neoplan. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
We're taking a break here on Joy News. Prime still ahead, though. President Akufo-Addo invites and halts of ministers and public officials throng the Independence Square for commissioning of 307 ambulances, government says, will form the core of a comprehensive national emergency system.
Ensure that the needed infrastructure is provided to the paramedic and emergency care training school at the Kent Council to help ensure that it serves its purpose of training paramedics in the country and West Africa. Additionally, 145 new ambulance stations will be created.
The National Ambulance Service has also been explaining how it will work.
Number 112 is also to replace the numerous different emergency numbers in the country. First option is calling 112 directly on your phone. The second option is calling or sending alerts on the Ghana Post GPS app.
Opposition NDC points to what it describes as a grand scheme of intimidation and harassment to silence the party ahead of the 2020 elections.
We shall not tire, we shall not rest, we shall not falter, and we shall not relent. We are unwilling to surrender our rights to a democratically elected leader who is carrying himself as a despot.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a bit. The National Democratic Congress NDC says it will be embarking on a series of activities to demand an immediate end to what it describes as harassment and intimidation of leading members of the party. At a news conference at its headquarters, Director of Communications Kakre Samwa said the party has credible intelligence. The arrest of its National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, is part of a larger scheme of intimidation calculated at silencing the NDC ahead of the 2020 elections.
Yesterday, Ghana descended into one of its darkest days under the Fourth Republic. Men from the Police Criminal Investigations Department, the CID, arrested in Gestapo style the National Communications Officer of our party at the premises of a television station in Accra, Ghana, after he had appeared on a program there. These men did not respect the freedom of the media and the fact that Mr. Jemfi was the guest of the television station. The basis for this needless show of excessive power was that the Executive Secretary to the President, who is also his cousin, Nana Asante Bedietu, had lodged a complaint against him over some alleged cybercrime. On our own part, we wish to tell President Akufo-Addo that enough is enough. While remaining law-abiding, we will not sit like ducks on top of water to be picked up one after the other by a handful of rogue elements within the police service, acting on misguided orders from the presidency. We shall challenge the abuse of power to every extent possible. We shall deploy every legal and social arsenal at our disposal in defense of our rights to free expression and freedom of association. We shall also defend our rights to privacy and means of communication, especially the creeping practice of this government in using the police and the courts to intrude and intercept the private communications of citizens. In the pursuit of these rights and that of all Ghanaians, we shall not tire, we shall not rest, we shall not falter, and we shall not relent. We are unwilling to surrender our rights to a democratically elected leader who is carrying himself as a despot. Fellow Ghanaians, in the coming days, we will be outlining a series of activities aimed at opposing in the strongest possible terms the acts of suppression by President Akufo-Addo and his hawkish relatives in government. As I have indicated earlier, we will be embarking on a series of activities to press home our demand for an immediate cessation of the harassment and intimidation of our leading members, and we will make public a roadmap in the coming days.
Time for business now, and Sandra is here. She has more on the Newplan story. Hello.
Exactly, and so welcome to business. I am Sandra S. and I'm Apeno. Minority shareholders of Newplan Ghana Limited, FADO, is threatening to fold up by January 31 should government fail to address their concerns. The French company, which owns 45% shares in Newplan, is demanding government to immediately constitute the board of directors for the company and also extend some government contracts. According to management's effort to revamp the company, have yielded no result over the past 9 years. Fred Duho visited the company and was interacting with some workers and has filed this report.
Let's speak to some of the workers which may be affected should this particular company shut down eventually.
I'm a family man now, and I'm taking care of my brother and my sister, and all of that, sadly, I'm going to lose my job or going to stay in the house. So it's going to be difficult for me to assist my sister and my family. So yeah, it's very difficult.
When you wake up daily and come to this particular place, what do you do basically? Share with us what you do here.
Okay, I'm here as a finisher. After completion of the bus, I lay the leather and the seat. Let's take the finishing work about the bus. That's my department.
I've seen a number of buses here, just like the Metro Mass Transit. Did you work on them too?
Yeah, that's what we normally do. But for the previous years now, the work has been ceased. And now we were looking for a contract from the government, but the government is not helping us.
How long have you been working here?
It's a quite long. About 16 to 18 years.
And in all this number of years you've been working, what has been the key challenges you have seen as a worker here?
Oh, okay, the challenges that we have been facing is a lot. Some production that we are not been getting. For the past, I may say for the past 6 years now, it is very difficult for us, for the manager to take care of us, to give us our monthly salaries and other things. You can see right now the buses here, the Kufuor buses all was built by we, Newplan Ghana Limited. And then the buses are all damaged a lot. And these buses have worked for over 10 years in the country. But when you imagine, when they buy the Chinese buses into the system, it doesn't last. So we are pleading to the government to give us the chassis, even if it is on loan to the company to work on it and sell and pay the loans, it will help us. So fortunately, the government board have left only 2 people. 2 are no more. The 2 that left, one cannot speak. So it is very difficult for the board to meet and then negotiate or think about the company. So it's affecting us for a quite long now.
Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahenkra, however, says government will not allow the collapse of the once vibrant transport company that serves the country. In an interview with Joy Business on the situation, he said government will intervene to get owners of New Plan Transport Company to rescind their decision to close down.
Well, we have a little bit more shares than we have now. So sell part of the shares, your shares, to us, so we can, based on that, and go and borrow money from outside and come and work. They said, fine, bring the money. They gave them about $173,000 for part of the shares. The monies were collected by divestiture, but the shares was never given to them in 2016.
So government can be blamed for this, previous government?
Well, the previous government, present government is government. So government has not treated them too well in the past. And I think that if they decide to go away and shut down, they are right. But who loses? At the end of the day, it's the same government who is going to lose people on the streets that is going to start having problems and challenges. So it won't be appropriate for us to allow them to go. From 2010 to 2016, they've done nothing at all in that factory. Of course, we have heard their cries ever since we came, 2017, 2018, we heard their cries. But if you remember, not too long ago, the Ministry of Trade and Industry launched the auto policy, which is going to support companies that are into the auto manufacturing business to be able to, as it were, put up plants and assemble. They are already in the business. So all they need is just small capital injection or find somebody to, as it were, join them to have a JV. In any case, they are even willing to buy off all the remaining government shares and be a full-time private company and go on and borrow on their own balance sheet and come and work. Why must government put any stumbling block in their way? So let me take advantage of this interview and plead with management of New Plan that they should exercise some restraint. We know that it's not been easy. We know that we've not gone very well with them. I mean, government of Ghana. Now that it has gotten to this point, I know that my Minister for Transport, who is able-bodied and very smart, will find a way to, prop them up.
In other news tonight, Ghana is expected to benefit from a zero duty on all exports to the UK, as well as quota-free access to the British market. These are some of the proposals under the new trade deal being discussed between the Ghanaian embassy and the UK officials. The deal has become necessary following UK's plan to exit from the European Union by the end of this week. UK Prime Minister in charge of Trade Envoy Adam Efie has been speaking about the deal in London.
We are now looking to Ghana. We're looking at you as equal partners. This will be a proper bilateral deal that will be signed. It won't be overly favouring the UK. It won't be overly favouring Ghana. It will just facilitate the movement of goods and services without tariffs, without quotas, the movement of goods and services between our nations. And clearly, there'll be huge schedules of goods and there'll be a lot of discussion around them. But quite frankly, this is not like it was 50 years ago, 200 years ago. This is very, very different. Ghana are equal partners with Britain, and that's how we're discussing the situation.
For some people, their concern is that UK is a developed economy. Ghana is now more of a frontier market. The challenge will be us taking advantage of the opportunities that this deal will present, and that is where the challenge is.
Well, let me tell you something. You're already taking advantage. In the last year, the exports from Ghana of all sorts of goods to the UK has increased by, I think, about 37%. In fact, the figures are questionable because it could be by about 60%. So the exports from Ghana to the UK are already increasing enormously with our current partnership arrangement. I can see those figures doubling, tripling, quadrupling if we have a reasonable bilateral agreement. But listen, this is a two-way street. You know, if there's nervousness about the UK getting an advantage, the only advantage the UK will be seeking is it'll be our businesses will be seeking to invest their money, pump their money into Ghana, to pump their expertise and innovation into Ghana, to assist with things like the Kumasi airport, so that actually Ghana develops.
So the proposed UK deal might be similar to what Ghana was enjoying under the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. In other news tonight, Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, has given pensioners up to Friday to complete biometric registration. Details coming up in a compilation of some business headline stories.
Pensioners who are yet to do the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SSNIT biometric registration have up to Friday, January 31, 2020 to complete the exercise, or they will have their names deleted from the pension roll. According to SSNIT, once a pensioner's name was deleted, he or she would not have access to his or her monthly pension, adding that the trust wanted to avoid paying pensions to undeserved persons.
That's all for business for now. There's more business news after 8 p.m. I'm Sandra Esinamap, do stay tuned.
The dual carriage road linking Spintex to Burma Camp is said to have become notorious for accidents at the section near the Air Force Base. Road safety consultant Cecil Gabra says drivers would have to be wary when they get to the bend, which he says has claimed a number of lives. In the second installment of our driving lesson series, the experienced instructor advises motorists how to maneuver the bend. He also explains the long unbroken strips found on the road as one approaches traffic lights and roundabouts.
This is a Burma Camp Road, and we're going to turn towards the new highway that goes to
Spintex.
Yeah, that links to Spintex.
Yeah,
we're going to get on that because that's where you're going to see a lot of speeding. So we're going to observe what happens on that road as well. That's another one.
Wow. Now, immediately you get...
See, he's actually turning this way.
That's serious, and that is what happens in the morning. This is so wrong. You cannot take that lane and turn to the left. That is so wrong. Now, if you look at the road markings, it's unfortunate we have passed by the traffic light. Before you get to traffic light, you will notice that you have the broken lines, being stretched to be more than the broken lines, and it gets to a point that
so the broken lines become longer.
Precisely.
As you're approaching the traffic
Precisely.
light. We have another traffic light up ahead, so let's observe that.
Now you see it's changing.
It's becoming longer.
It is becoming longer. This is an indication to tell you the fact that you cannot cross. You should slow down now. It's one long. You cannot cross from right to left or left to right. You must really stay in the lane that you have indicated. That is the meaning of the long line. So when you are driving, especially on the highway, and you see any long line, that should tell you, one, you've got into a bend, either you've got into maybe a town, or there is an obstruction there on the road. That is what it means. So you must not try to overtake. That is the meaning of the long line. Interesting enough, talking about indicators, if you are driving and then you see any indicator, as a very good driver, all what you need to do is to slow down for that person to take his decision. Okay? But here we are in cases like that, somebody indicates to the right, and then drivers would rather drive very closely to, close that gap, which is so bad.
Because they don't want to allow.
They don't want to allow you.
The other vehicle to make the. Right, so we're on this road that connects Spintex, and this is a road that you see a lot of speeding happening here.
Talking about speed limits, I think we need to be pragmatic now. Okay, in a case like this, if you look at it, the road is wide enough, right? Now, I feel the laws must change according to roads and streets. 100 kilometers to the roundabout, you'll have to tell everybody where you pass it. Because now, if you look at the road markings, it will start to change.
Okay, so this one
right, so after the pedestrian crossing, you have to change to your left.
All right.
Because we're going to go around.
There I go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you need to indicate now, you need to indicate to your left that you are turning at the roundabout. Right, now the indication must still be on. You pass the first exit point, the second exit point, you have to show to your right that you are going to your right, and that says the law, okay? Now, as soon as you change, you still have to maintain your inner lane. You drive for a while before you come to your outer lane.
Oh, really?
Yes, because you were in the inner lane. You don't change lanes in the roundabout. Now, on the left is the military base.
Yes.
Okay, and then you can see the concrete walls and all. Yes, all the median to say that, look, you cannot fool around here with the Ghana military. But then there's a serious problem ahead of us.
Okay.
Right, we are getting closer to there. There have been a lot of accidents there because people speed in the mornings, in the evenings on this road, and it is difficult for you to meander in this bend.
Okay.
So they lose control.
There it is.
Precisely. Now look on the walls. It's almost like every week. Look at it. Very sad. And people have died.
Oh, people have died?
Yes, people have died. My son's friend died a year ago when he was speeding on this road. So these are some of the problems that we will need to warn pedestrians and commuters in general.
Yeah. All right, so I learned a thing or two. I hope you also learned something. Moving on, a sandfly invasion in the whole municipality of the Volta region has got residents worried. A leishmaniasis outbreak may soon follow. The disease, caused by parasites transmitted through sandfly bites, could kill if left untreated in over 95% of cases. Residents in the Dodoma traditional area in particular are worried and have appealed to government and benevolent groups to assist fumigate the area periodically to exterminate the sandflies. Joining us, Fred Kwame Asari filed the following report.
Life in the Dodoma traditional area has been unbearable for residents. This is due to the existence of sandflies, a biting and blood-sucking diphtherian insect. The area, which has 6 communities, is surrounded by a chain mountain with thick vegetation.
Our problem here is the flies. And in fact, during the rainy season, even it comes the worst, and they disturb us a lot. And sometimes when they are biting us, we don't feel free. Sometimes you see scratches on our bodies, and then sometimes our children sick. We, the adult, also, we fall sick.
According to the World Health Organization, a bite of an infected female sandfly transmits parasites which causes leishmaniasis, also known as Kala Azar. It is fatal if left untreated. Residents here are terrified learning of the long-term effects of sandfly bites.
In fact, it's very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. So we are anticipating that if the authorities could help by spraying the environment to repel them from attacking us.
A research conducted by Sodem Company Limited revealed the rich chemical composition in the noni fruits is a possible treatment for leishmaniasis. The company, with support from EHA Ventures, therefore embarked on Let's Prevent Leishmaniasis campaign in the area to help curb the spread of the disease. Sylvia Demenya is the Chief Executive Officer of Sodem Company Limited.
Upon research, we realized that leishmaniasis has been affecting the inhabitants in Dodoma for a long period of time, ages. With this research, we also found out that our noni juice that we produce, which is a food supplement, can stand a great chance by preventing the people from getting harmed when they take the product, because Sodem noni juice is a juice that stands on a preventive measure. So we are embarking on this project in order to help prevent leishmaniasis in the Dodoma community.
Some lotions and creams produced with natural extract by EHA Ventures were also distributed to the residents for use to prevent the sandflies from biting them. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Dodome, Abiasu.
Speaker of Parliament Professor Michael Quay has cautioned MPs against extreme partisanship during debates on the floor of the House. According to him, propaganda-laced comments over the years have reduced the image of Parliament in the eyes of right-thinking members of the public. Welcoming MPs to the first meeting of the fourth session of the 7th Parliament, the Speaker charged members to live above loose commentary and make informed debates in the chamber.
As members of the 7th Parliament, we need to have exceptional zeal and commitment to deliver this mandate and leave a mark in the history of Parliament in Ghana. I therefore respectfully urge all members to actively collaborate with the majority and minority leaders and the legislative and drafting unit at the Speaker's office to also work towards our leaving a mark on private members' bills. A number of accusations are often made against members for areas which are not part of the normal mandate of Parliament. These issues have created a gaping gap of disaffection, sometimes between members and constituents. And it was advocated that it's important to have a holistic review of all these so as to strengthen our parliaments and our MPs. In short, treaties of economic justice which will realign the global economy, its management, and ensuring economic development.
A survey conducted by the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana has revealed majority of Ghanaians are not pleased with the performance of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives in their localities. From the survey, 66.7% of respondents said administration at the local level is bad. Here are excerpts from the research findings as presented by senior lecturer at the Political Science Department, Ketri Frimpong.
The phrase, the MMDC has done nothing, sums up the non-delivery of development projects by MMDCs. 15.5% of those who responded did not know of the development projects the MMDCs have undertaken in their localities. It is the case that critical social infrastructure such as markets, roads, schools and so on, you saw only a few, performance of the MMDCs. The picture of low development is a reflection of the poor performance of the MMDCs. Only 2.4% rated their MMDCs. The delivery of community development projects as excellent. 6.3, very good. 24.6, good. But if you total all from excellent to good, it is 33.3. 1/3, so you know where the 2/3 has gone. On the other hand, the cumulative score of bad and very bad is 66.7%.
Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of the briefing, Ketri Frimpong said local governance in the country has now become a one-party system. He called on MMDCs to bridge communication gap with residents.
If there are problems and they cannot solve, hearing the people's problem by visiting them and trying to explain your side of it is better. Because there are serious challenges dealing with all the many MMDAs. But at least let the people see you. If for 3 years they haven't seen you at all, they can say anything. But for me, in person, what is important is that if the people are saying we don't want the party system, but it is still a party system. If the constituency chairman is the one who is most influential on the DCE, it is partisan. And that was what I said, that What we have now is not a non-partisan district assembly system, but rather a one-partisan district assembly. 30% of the people there are the president's own nominee. Not so. The DC is the nominee. We have made the point that 2/3 of the members of the assembly can pass a vote of no confidence in the DC. Is it ever going to happen?
The Political Science Department will meanwhile soon publish its ranking of the MMDCs across the country. A senior lecturer at the department, Isaac Osumensa, explains.
The information we have put up is that is the general performance of MMDC. In a very few days' time, we will put up the information on the ranking of the MMDC, which is the best performing MMDC and which is the less performing or least performing MMDC. We shall put that also in the public domain very soon. But for now, this is a generic view of the findings that we have found. Everyone sharing. Very soon. Very soon we shall put that also in the public domain.
Residents of Kitikrachi in the Krachi West District of the OT region are calling on government to fix the deplorable roads in the town. Residents claim the roads, which are dusty this time of year, leaves them with respiratory infections and also impacts businesses negatively. Most of the town's roads have not seen any major repairs for years. Correspondent Peter Senu has been interacting with some residents on a recent visit.
The Overbank settlement, which is literally cut off from the rest of the world after 5 p.m., has its deplorable town roads to grapple with. Joy News sources say some stretches of the roads have been without quota over the past 5 decades. Aside from the dust making life difficult and sales unattractive, the residents also complain about respiratory infections. Here is Adija, who manages this boutique and cosmetic shop.
And
the open is say, you know, about how many minutes and put on the best I
so see, I probably do 5 minutes. Especially a car base here. Even upon glass, yeah, my end and still. And foot on over them. I did for her, so I'll be on top of you. Not price, no cry, boy, a capra. Nobody is no woman can your mind. I have even a can I boy cry side of Christ. I might area. It's run upon my daughter, remember saying your mind.
Also is Joseph, a mobile money vendor. He tells Joy News how the dust from the roads is affecting his life and business.
When the cars and the motor pass, then the dust just enter. You can see here. Here I paint white, but everything tend to that color. So yeah, it is affecting me. I mean, if you come and maintain the road for us. First of all, it is not. We need a quota. Yeah, here is a raw road, and we need a quota.
The initial call to the president through the OT regional minister, Kwesi Osu-Yeboah, was made by Nana Atakpebu, chief of Gengen, at the inaugural ceremony of the Krachi West District Assembly days ago. Nana Atakpebu said they have remained silent over the issue for a long time and would soon react.
Our roads in Krachi, I mean, I can't for almost the day it will come out, it will be something else. Our town roads are bad. The roads that lead to our towns are bad. Very bad. Yes, very, very. So please, Minister.
Peter Senu for Joy News.
President Akufo-Addo has made good one of his election campaign promises to have all constituencies in the country provided with ambulances. This is one of the party's numerous pledges, which in recent times sparked some controversy over the decision to park the ambulances until the entire fleet was ready for commissioning. That commissioning happened today at the Black Star Square at an event witnessed by President Akufo-Addo, his vice, and hordes of ministers and public officials. Komladom has more from the Black Star Square, where a national emergency number 112 was also launched.
After a series of postponements, the day Special Development Initiatives Minister Mavis Hawakumsin prayed for eventually came to pass.
I consider myself as the happiest person on earth. I am elated because after days, weeks, and months of hard work, in the midst of speculations, our dream has been realized.
307 ambulances would finally be dispatched to the various regions for onward distribution to the constituencies. At the ceremony to officially commission the fleet, President Akufo-Addo outlined a series of measures to ensure emergency healthcare delivery is significantly improved.
National Ambulance Service Bill, which identifies funding sources for the National Ambulance Service, is currently before Cabinet. This will be forwarded to Parliament for consideration and enactment after Cabinet approval, which should be granted shortly. We've merged all the emergency numbers to one number, which is 112. For any form of emergency, either police service, fire service, or ambulance service, government will ensure that the needed infrastructure is provided to the paramedic and emergency care training school at the Kent Council to help ensure that it serves its purpose of training paramedics in the country and West Africa. Additionally, in the course of the year, 145 new ambulance stations will be created.
He has also been charging ministers, MPs and other MMDA staff to ensure the ambulances are properly maintained to serve their purpose.
I call upon all regional ministers, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, as well as all health officials, to provide the needed cooperation and support to make the operationalization of these ambulances a success, and also ensure their satisfactory maintenance.
For Minister in charge of Special Development Initiatives, who spearheaded the acquisition of the ambulances from Turkey, the event represents the largest investment in emergency services by any government in Ghana's history.
All procurement process were duly followed. It is the first major and highest intervention by successive governments.
She has also noted the emergency medical technicians have been trained by the Turkish manufacturers to be able to handle and maintain the fleet.
These fully equipped ambulances need proper care and regular maintenance. Management, operation and maintenance manuals have also been prepared for them. The drivers and officials of the service have been adequately trained on the use of the vehicle as well as handling of the equipment thereof. These training seasons were done by the manufacturers from Turkey.
Though all the constituencies are to take delivery of the ambulances, there are some the health minister reveals are not yet ready.
We do know that some constituencies have met the basic requirements of providing office and residential accommodation for the National Ambulance Service to pave way for easy operationalization of these ambulances. We also do know that some constituencies are a bit behind in terms of their preparedness in receiving these ambulances. As these ambulances are going to be deployed today, I'll entreat all my colleague MPs, regional ministers, and metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives to continue to collaborate with the National Ambulance Service, especially in places where the infrastructure is not ready, to identify suitable places from where to operate until such times that the necessary facilities are made available.
So now you know, the number to call in case of any emergency is 112 for the police, fire or ambulance service. That could make a world of difference when you are in distress.
Indeed, and Chief Executive Officer of the National Ambulance Service, Professor Ahmed Zakaria, meanwhile says all the ambulances have been adequately equipped with modern equipment to provide pre-hospital care to victims. He also explains how the new system works.
This is how the system is going to operate after the launch. We have the sending a distress call by the user. The user has two options when in need of an ambulance. First option is calling 112 directly on your phone. The second option is calling or sending alerts on the Ghana Post GPS app. If you're using the first option, calling 112 directly on your phone will require you to provide some information about your location to allow for easy accessibility. Using the Ghana Post GPS app, will automatically send your location, that's your digital address, to the ambulance service for a more reliable and easy accessibility. Now, if you're making a direct call on your phone with the 112, the caller dials 112 on the phone. The call is received at the command center, and this call is routed to the appropriate quarters, either the police, ambulance, fire, or NADMO, depending on your request. The ambulance control center receives the information from the distress caller. The information is entered on the AmbuTrack platform with either the digital address or landmark to identify the location of the distress caller. Your Excellency, the information is dispatched to the ambulance for response. Now, if you're making a call from the Ghana Post app, you open the Ghana Post app on your phone. Once that is done, you press the call button on the top right corner. Call is received by the command center and routed to the appropriate office, either the police, ambulance, fire, or NADMO. Your Excellency, the distress caller location is sent automatically to the AmbuTrack platform. The information is dispatched to the ambulance for response. Alternatively, sir, the caller can access directly by going to the menu, select the ambulance, and send a distress message. This goes straight to the ambulance control center with the caller's location. The information is dispatched to the ambulance for response. In relation to the control center, the National Control Center has a bird-eye view of all the ambulances in the country. All control centers have a bird-eye view of all ambulances under their jurisdiction. Every control center has control over the usage of its ambulance, and all activities are overseen by the National Control Center.
Right, minority MPs have asked the Akufo-Addo government to immediately release and start utilizing some 8 mobile medical vans procured by the Mahama administration to assist with healthcare delivery. The vans procured in 2014 have been left at the premises of the Biomedical Engineering Unit of the Kolbu Teaching Hospital. Ranking member of the Health Committee, Kwabna Minta Kando, described the situation whilst accusing governments of failing to prioritize the health sector of the country.
What crime have we committed? And so I believe that as a matter of urgency, I believe that government must put these vans to use. They should deploy them. They should deploy them to the various hinterlands to serve the good people of this country. We can't allow these vans to be parked here to continue to rot away. It's very unfortunate. And therefore, if the president is listening, if the minister responsible for health is listening, please, we need action and not the plenty talks. These vans must go to the field and work, and not to leave them to rot away. I mean, I am sad. And the best use of the vans are to, I've seen some files being tied to the vans, and nobody even comes here, nobody cares about it, nobody even comes to see whether or not, they will even service the engine, or this is a machine. If you don't ignite the machines for far too long, what happens to the machine? Very expensive vans, procured by the taxpayers' money. So with the greatest deal of respect, we think that these vans are not for decorations.
Talking about action, how soon are you expecting government?
No, but I think that if the president is listening, as soon as possible. We should not even go beyond 1 week. They should not go beyond 1 week, for Christ's sake. Why are they parking these things there?
Nine-month-old Husseini Abdul Salim needs 8,000 cedis to undergo surgery to save her life. Husseini has been diagnosed with hydrocephalus, a buildup of fluid in the brain, which can lead to extreme enlargement of the head in infants, progressive brain damage, and eventual death as the baby grows older. Here's her story, put together by Anna Sabit.
The joy of every woman is to give birth to a healthy baby. However, it was a different ball game for Mrs. Nasra Husseini, who gave birth to a baby with a non-communicating hydrocephalus. Little Husseini Abdul Salim was born at the Techiman Holy Family Hospital. Soon after his birth, the joy of his parents were short-lived after doctors diagnosed his swollen head as a result of a build-up of brain fluid.
Me 8 months na me ko chop picture na amaka kire me say me wo akola na this me de no ko ji nsuo wo ne tim na omo ahwe me san wo ya so omo san kan say ji say de no ko ji no na omo ahwe ni omo ahwe nsuo no na me de no koye no omo say pipe na beto ni 56 million and scandal no say beto 45.
The mystery of this woman, now a single parent, began shortly after her husband left home in search of money for the child's surgery. It's been months since Nasra last heard from her husband.
Ne papa mi friji ba e na odi no hihi mu say okopa ska be say akola no here okoye wanyamba baby o wono so network ni ho omusi umu adwuma no so say asai nti okoye sesi a onyi ska nti oda so ho no wanyamba.
Nasra is worried that her child's situation has rendered her unemployed.
Me face na me ye seminar adwuma ba me wu ye na akola ye ni ntimi ye bi say akola na ye ni ntimi mpie sesi a me ho a kire me ena me dia to sesi a me ntimi ye adwuma bia akola na odi ne se akire kora ntimi mfe ne se akire jiso odi kwa na me ye fi akire ne ti ansa ne ti na ye dai agina so wan ye na sa obe ha ne ti ne be ya ti to afrim.
She's afraid if nothing is being done about it, she might end up losing her 9-month-old child.
Sesia me hieska na omo aboa me na me de akwa ma omo asa me ba no ho yare ama me. Se mo antimi amboa me de a betimi aha no because se wontimi ntana se wontimi anante a wanhwe yi a ebi akola me betimi afa ho afrim.
Dr. Jacqueline Japoma Asibe is a senior specialist pediatrician at the Techiman Holy Family Hospital. She tells me what contributed to Abdul Salim's situation.
The case of Abdul Salim Fuseni is a congenital problem. It's a problem that happened when he was in the uterus of the mother, when he was in utero. The fluid actually is in our brain, protecting our brain and our spinal cord. And it moves daily, every day, it moves around that, and then it's reabsorbed back. But for some children, due to one problem or the other, there's obstruction and the fluid does not flow. So they are born and then there's obstruction in the flow of the fluid, and that can lead to, so it's a congenital, he was born with it. For some reason, when it was being formed, something obstructed and the fluid has not been flowing. So since it was in the mother's womb, the fluid has just been building up all this while.
Dr. Jacqueline asked that Abdul Salim needs an immediate surgery as any delay could lead to other complications and, in a worst-case scenario, death.
He needs surgery. The definitive treatment for this is surgery. We need to go in there and then drain that fluid or give a different channel for that fluid to flow so that everything will come back to normal. If there is delay, the possible complications that the child will have is because the fluid will take the parts where the brain needs to expand. So we say the fluid is shrinking or causing the brain to become smaller. He'll have developmental problems. So head control, sitting, walking, vision, talking may be a problem. It can lead to convulsions. So the child may develop a seizure disorder where he will be having multiple convulsions every day. And then indefinitely, if it continues, this brain will shrink and would unfortunately lose the child if it's not repaired.
She calls on the general public to support the poor parents in order to raise an amount of 8,000 Ghana cedis for the life-saving surgery at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital.
So our appeal to everybody, the little that we can get from the assessment at Komfo-Anokye, this child needs 8,000 Ghana cedi to be able to go through the surgery. We appeal everybody, NGOs, corporate bodies, any organization, individuals, the little amount that you can help this child, will be very grateful to let our little brother go through the surgery and then give him a chance at life and put a big smile on the faces of the family of this, our little brother.
Until that amount is raised, the fate of little Abdul Salim continues to hang in the balance. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.